Welcome back to V8 Creative and the Dean Den, and on this episode I'm going to share with you a brand new factory upgrade. Yes, you did hear that right. Ultima Sports has chosen this channel to launch a brand new factory upgrade. And this upgrade I'm going to be installing later in this episode, so keep tuned. And it's going to be of particular interest for those Ultima RS owners, complete cars, during mid-build, or thinking about ordering the kit. So please contact the factory and they can give you the details once I show you what it is. Now, for this episode, I'm going to be focusing on the cockpit. I'm really wanting to finish it off as far as I can at this stage of the build. So I'm going to be adding the gear shift mechanism, or the stick if you live over the pond, and also the center tunnel, and also the seats on the seat runners. So if all goes to plan, the closing scene of this episode will be me nestled into the Ultima RS seats, holding that beautiful Alcantara steering wheel. So without further ado, let's get unwrapping. Wow. Okay, that footage you just watched was actually taken 3 weeks ago. And it was put in my archive because you probably remember I said I'm going to delay the installation of the gear shift. And the reason was, once I'd unpacked everything, I got a call from Richard from the factory. And he said, I have an upgrade that I want you to install in your car. Now, the shifter mechanism's beautiful. It is a work of art, as is all the bracketry, as everything Ultima supplies. It's just plug and play, basically. But the focus on the upgrade are these two components here, which actually cover the gear shift and the handbrake mechanism. Now, what comes in Pack A, the standard offering, is actually a GRP moulding that's covered, I must say, in beautiful 3M carbon effect sheet. And I must say, it is a beautiful bit of kit. But Richard said, what we are going to offer moving forwards is a real carbon fibre centre tunnel. Now, I'm a bit of a purist, so I'm investing a lot of money in this machine to have carbon fibre in as many places as I can. I just love carbon fibre. The weave is beautiful. And in the cockpit, I've gone for the option already for the seals to be covered in carbon fibre. And now those seals will match the centre tunnel. So let me just put these to one side. And this box arrived only yesterday and I haven't opened it yet. So in here we should have the alternative mouldings but in real carbon fibre. So let me just open the box. It's that noise of Ultima tape again being cut. Oh joy! Lots of polystyrene. Rufus will like that. Oh, and look! Another bag of treats from the factory. I'll have to get my creative director to come and try those out a bit later. So that's one assembly. And there should be another one in here. Wow, it's light. It could almost float away. Okay, let's get rid of this box. You don't want to know the mess that made. Ah, just look at that. What a beautiful finish. Can you see the light in that? High gloss. This is stunning. Right, so let's do a comparison side by side. Here we go. Probably the camera doesn't do this justice. So this is your standing offering in pack A, and this is the upgrade. So let's have a look at the other. Oh, beautiful, look at that. So we have the mechanism. We then have this that sits on top, and then we have this here that sits behind. Whew, I've come out all in a sweat. I think the next thing to do is let's fit this to the car. Oh, what's this? What's this? Oh, look, what's this? Face the camera, we want to see you. Right, should we open this? What's this? Oh, Rufus. Is that nice? Oh, wow, look. So what are these? Barbecue bangers. Is that good? Is that good? Ultima treats. Yum. Okay, first job, make sure you protect the seat pan. So I've used bubble wrap and a bit of wood here. And even though I've just put the handbrake on, I've got to take it off.
I got tons of soul. I got tons of soul.
and pause. Now, first of all, apologies for the elevator music in the background. I know, but the Monaco Grand Prix is on. Well, actually, practice for the Monaco Grand Prix, which you'll know is far more important than the race. So that's why you've got to put up with a bit more music than normal this episode. But I thought I'd just pause and give you an update on how much I've done so far and why I'm doing what I'm doing. So you'll see the base plate for the shifter. I took a great amount of effort to centrally place that on the middle of the chassis for obvious reasons. It needs to be in the middle between the seats. But the critical measurement, and the real critical measurement, is how fore and aft the actual gear shifter sits. Now, Ultima give you a measurement of 593 millimeters from the aluminium bulkhead at the rear of the cockpit to where the rear two riv nuts are placed to hold the gear shift. And that needs to be exact. Why? Well, it's not to put the gear stick close to the steering wheel really so much. What it's about is the position of that gear shifter needs to be perfect so the center console fits over the top and there's no interference as you're going up the cogs. So you'll also have seen I marked and put two riv nuts into the front of the chassis just in front of that bracket, and that's to hold the front of the shifter. So the next stage is actually bolting the shifter to the chassis. So cue music.
Live your life within the moment, and don't go wait until the morning. You never know when it is over. All that I know is we'll get older. So let us dance this night away.
So before we bond the plate onto the chassis, we do our usual squirt of wax seal. I'll just put a bit extra in, why not? Okay, and to ensure the bond is perfect, we're going to put some sealant. And then we have to line this up pretty much perfectly first time. He says. There we go. And I'll just pop the rivets in. There we go. We put the rivets in. And there we have it. That ain't gonna move. So the next thing to do now is attach the gear shift, which we do with these stainless steel dome head set screws. The next stage is to trial fit the carbon fibre centre tunnel, and Ultima provide this additional bracket which fits somewhere around here, which I'll fit in a minute, which actually attaches the carbon fibre shroud. So
let us dance this night away. Feel the air get thinner. I'm standing in a blurry dream. No one else can see us. So let us dance this night away.
So there we have it. Beautiful carbon fibre. It's a stunning piece of kit. And as you saw, I measured very carefully where this bracket, which sits underneath this front housing, has to go, because the hole is already drilled in the carbon fibre. So those have to line up exactly, and I'm pleased to say my measuring was pretty spot on. Now you'll see when I was fitting this, I had the carpets in to start with, and that was to understand how much the carpets would raise this assembly off of the seat pans. So what I've done now is, because I've adjusted it all for the carpets, I've removed them because I don't want them getting dirty through the rest of the build. And then when I come to finally fit the carpets and the seats and the centre tunnel, I may have to trim very slightly at the bottom, but that's fine. That's not a problem at all. So there we have it. The centre console is installed and it looks stunning in high gloss carbon. Next, we're going to install the seats. Now, as you'll know in episode 1, if you watch that, I chose black leather, black Alcantara, red stitching and red piping. And if you look closely at these seats, they're very light. And what they have is the Ultima RS logo embroidered into the headrest. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's one in the bottom, holes, and that's where the 6-point harness comes in to weld you to the seat. And in the seating area here, we have perforated leather. Here we have Alcantara, and the sides are in beautiful leather again. So let me pop this over here, and we've got more unwrapping. More unwrapping. Double in one episode. Yeah, we have. We have 2 pairs of seat runners. Obviously one for passenger and one for driver. In here we have assorted nuts, bolts, large penny washers, and that's to bolt the seat to the seat pan and also the seat to the runners. And talking of runners, in here are the adjustment bars one for each seat, which protrude from under the seat at the front to allow you to adjust it forward and aft. So there we have it. These are two adjustment bars, and they will go at the front of the seat, so you can pull up to adjust the seat forward and aft. Let's get the other one out if it wants to come out. Let's start installation. So before we can install the seats in the car, what we need to do is fit the seat runners to the base of the seat. And as you can see, I'm protecting the seat again by putting this polythene over the top. Now, how we need the seat is to flip it on its front to expose the base of the seat. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin the camera around so you can focus on the base of the seat so you can see me working on it. So just hold on a second. So on the base of the seat, what you can see is 4 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now inside here is an M8 threaded insert. And what we need to do is, with our seat runners, use these M8 dome head set screws to just connect the seat runners to the base of the seat. Now, and then we put it the other way, like so. And just get all the time, like you want to. And do the other one up. Okay. Now what we need to do is do the same with the other runner. Make sure they are correctly opposed. Okay, so let's slide this down. Now you can put it okay, and then next to do, set it up, and we'll see here with the and these need to go into there. And then the side, what we'll do is we bring that, and then slide it up. Oops, back in. Okay, so start it by hand to ensure you're not cross-threading it. Now we need to slide this down. Now we'll be able to do this by just pushing that adjustment bar down. Okay. Now what Ultima say is we need to position these runners. Obviously they need to be equal. You can see they're a bit skew. 2 inches above, or near enough, above the end of this. So if I push this adjustment bar down, I can adjust these. Let's get a ruler. About 2 inches. Yep, just over 2 inches, just over. Perfect. So they're lined up. So by pushing this bar down, these runners will slide once they're bolted to the floor. Perfect. So there we go. Driver's side done. Now I'm not going to show you me putting those runners on the passenger seat because it's exactly the same. But the next job is fairly straightforward. All we have to do is drill 4 holes in each seat pan, but they've got to be in the right place. And of course, Ultima provide measurements so you can do this to millimeter accuracy. Once those holes are drilled, we're supplied with hex head set screws and large penny washers so we can bolt the seats to the floor from underneath. So let's just see how good my measuring actually is. Let's go to the chassis. So now I believe we have the 4 positions for the holes. What I'm going to do is measure the diagonals and these need to be the same. And then what I'm going to do is measure the diagonals on the threaded holes on the bottom of the seat and seeing if they're the same. And if they're the same, excellent. If they're not, well, I'll tweak. Spot on. So here we are, seats installed, and my creative director Rufus thinks this is a very pleasant space. Roll bar wrapping around us, Alcantara steering wheel, and our Raptor controls, and just a couple of inches from my left hand, that beautiful shifter, and carbon fibre surrounding me. Oh, this is amazing, isn't it? Hey Ruf, would you like a treat? I think he wants an Ultima treat. Here we go. Would you like one of these? There you go, good boy. Good boy, there we go. You hold tight, I'm just gonna start her up. This is great, isn't it? Love you. Say hi to the camera. Thanks Ultima for the treats. He loved them. And there you have it, another episode over. And now I can say the interior is fully complete. Well, there is one exception, but I'm going to show that in a later episode. And again, something that hasn't been offered to Ultima builders previously. So all I'd like to end on is thank you to everyone subscribing. We're almost nudging 2,000 of you, so thank you. And those thumbs up, well, I am a bit sort of embarrassed by how many thumbs up I'm getting. But anyway, you clearly like the content, so keep tuned and spread the word, because this is all about spannering.